Welcome to the Healthy Family Law Attorney. Today we're going to talk about what do you do with the family business if you're going through a divorce. You have several options there, and let's walk through it. Thanks for being part of the channel. I'm Tom Marks with the Marks Law Firm in Orlando, Florida. So a lot of clients own a family business, typically a smaller family business worth maybe $500,000 to maybe $4 or $5 million. They can be larger, but let's talk about what your options are. You can either one, sell the family business and then just split the proceeds with your spouse. Two, you can have the family business valued and then either buy out your spouse or sell it to your spouse for the amount that the business has been valued. Or finally, you can stay working in the family business together after the divorce, okay? That third option is not one that I normally recommend, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But let's walk through the first options because I think those are easier and a lot cleaner to accomplish. All right, selling the family business. That way you don't have to get a business valuation unless you want to. You want to have some idea of what the business is worth. But typically, a business is worth what a willing buyer and a willing seller will agree to in a arm's length transaction. So there are a number of different ways to value a business. If you're working in it though, and you know what comparable businesses are worth and so forth, you may be able to put it on the market with a broker that sells businesses that'll help you come up with a value in order to sell it. But if you're going to buy out your spouse or they're going to buy you out, or you really want to have a more precise value of the business and you're not just going to sell it for whatever you can get for it, then you're going to want to hire a business valuation expert. Your family law attorney should have a number of very good business valuation experts that can help you with that. There's several different valuation methodologies. There's the income approach, there's the net asset value approach, there's the market approach, there's a return on investment approach. There's all kinds of different approaches to valuing a business. Also, I'll say that you can either do a full-blown business valuation, and most business valuation experts will talk about that, but those are really maybe more expensive than you need. I've seen in my cases, business valuation experts do what they call an abbreviated business valuation, which can cost somewhere in the range of, say, $3,000 to $5,000. Depending on the size of the business. The larger the business, typically, the more complex and the more expensive the business valuation is going to be. And I've seen full-blown business valuations run 50 to 100 pages long and go through several different business valuation methodologies and cost $25,000 to $50,000. That's not what most people want to do, especially in a smaller family business. So the abbreviated business valuation is really probably the way you want to go. Okay, you'll also want to talk to the business valuation expert about some discounts to the valuation. Typically, in a smaller family business, there's going to be discounts for marketability, meaning that it's not easily sold, so that it's not as likely to bring in the full amount of the business valuation. So they usually give a discount of, say, 10% of the valuation. So they think the market approach or the net asset value approach or whatever approach they used says the business is worth $500,000, but can you really sell it for that? Probably not. So there's that discount of 10%, so which is $50,000. So it brings down the value to $450,000. There's also a concept called personal goodwill versus enterprise goodwill. So enterprise goodwill it's a company that's not attached to a person or their input or continued work in the business. Like classic example would be any stock on publicly traded stock, like IBM. That's purely enterprise goodwill. So the value there is going to be the full amount of the valuation. However, for personal goodwill, that's going to greatly diminish the value of the business. So let's say you have a small mom and pop business and it has the first or last name of one of the spouses. And so it's recognized by the name of Smith or Jones or whatever the name is. Maybe it's a pizza place, maybe it's a landscape, yard maintenance or whatever. And so the concern there is that people really go to that business based on the personality, the work ethic, the personhood of the one that's really running the business, whether it's the husband or the wife. And so that really greatly limits the amount of value for that business. Now you can put in place a non-compete agreement. So that spouse doesn't just sell you the business and then walk across the street and hang out a shingle and attract all the clients across the street. And then you really, what did you buy? Nothing, because all the customers or clients go to the spouse that really had the name and the following of the business. Some things you also want to be aware of and be concerned about is, do you have any personal guarantees out there for loans or something else on the business? So you don't want to sell the business and then that third party that loaned money that you signed a personal guarantee for now says, well, I don't care that you sold the business, you still owe me that $100,000. So you want to make sure all the outstanding liens or loans or debts of the business are either paid off or there's some kind of transfer of that debt to the purchaser of the business that's been agreed upon by that third party lien holder. And I'd highly recommend that you have a business law attorney look at the paperwork and look at the deal before you sign the documents in your family law case, either selling the business to your spouse or buying the business from your spouse or even selling to a third party. So finally, the last option I think for the business is you and your spouse decide, you know what, you both built the business, you love the business, it throws off a really good income, you both want to stay in the business. I think that's a really difficult thing to accomplish. I've done it a handful of times in my family law practice over a 35-year plus career. And typically what happens is it works for a period of time and then there become disputes and difficulties, and how do you make decisions and what is the strategy for the family-owned business going forward? Do you invest in a new computer system here? Do you pay for this advertising there? So typically these types of situations don't last, but if you're going to try it, you definitely need to have a business transactional attorney draft a very detailed operating agreement as to how you and your spouse are going to run the business together going forward. And what I've seen, these can be very detailed, very complex documents. One thing I've seen them do is put into place kind of a board of advisors or a board of directors of at least an odd number of board members, 3 to 5, maybe 7, but probably 3 to 5 at most, that are going to help break ties, make decisions. So if you and your spouse come to a place where you just can't break the tie, you can't make the decision, I'm assuming that you have each stayed 50-50 shareholders in the business. There's a whole bunch of law on if you're a minority shareholder, then your spouse, the majority shareholder, is going to be able to make the majority of the decisions, and you're going to be kind of on the out. So you really need, again, to have a business law attorney give you advice on how to structure it with the operating agreement or the board of directors. with maybe a built-in buy-sell agreement at some point in the future. If one of you decides you can't deal with it anymore, you want to be bought out, or you want to sell, whatever. So those are a lot of the issues of a family-owned business. Either stay in the business together, work it out, continue to run the business, very difficult to do, or two, sell the business, much easier to do, accomplish than just split the net proceeds from the sale of the business. Or three, have the business valued and then buy out your spouse or have them buy you out. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. I hope you liked the video. Please hit that like or subscribe or both buttons, that bell icon. Leave a comment or a question below. I'd be happy to answer it. And with that, I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.